So tell us about your book, Mr. Corruption.
Writing, you know, it can be passion, but sometimes, like the Manikas would say, yeah, I was pushed to the corner to write this poem, this book. You know, I know some people may be hurt by saying this, but then I'm a teacher, as I said, and then in 2020 I started the university, but then these people have this policy that you cannot go to the university without scholarship, so that they can give you study leave. But then I could not get the scholarship and I applied for it. So I just said to myself, well, I have to pay on my own and continue trying. So that's what I was doing until one fine day, some officials came to our school and demanded a list of all the teachers going to the university. And my name was among. Then I was pushed in. My salary was blocked. I was asked, yeah, I was asked to stop the university or they stop my salary, and then I refused. Like I've already paid this semester 16,500, which is more than my salary. So after paying that, you cannot threaten me with blocking my salary for not, leaving university. I have to finish this semester. That was how it happened, and then my salary was blocked, and then I was also, frustrated with all this stuff. Like I've been going up and down for them to release my salary and everything. Um, just to cut it short, the frustrations led me to write this poem because I was actually the same. It happened at the time that they were doing the postings. You understand? And then I had no choice but to go to the provinces so that I can have scholarship with the MRC Holland so that I can come back and continue my program. And then I felt like I'm losing a full year because of this law. Like you cannot go to the university without scholarship. And then I applied scholarship, but they are not also giving me. You want me to get scholarship to go to the university, but then you are not also giving me. So I said, well, it all boils down to something. That is corruption. Because I know people who are going to the university. I will not call their names, but I know people who are going to the university with the scholarship. They are telling me they are not disbursing at this particular time. So when I'm going to the provinces in a bus, sitting alone on my own, I take out my phone and start writing the story. I write this story. 90% of it was written on the bus when going. When I'm alone, I keep writing.
I can see the anger, like the anger you felt that time.
I was disappointed and angry, honestly. Well, I felt like I deserved the scholarship.
Definitely.
I did not get it. And then to be sent out, leaving the university was something, that really angered me. I started with people who are now in their final year and I'm in my third year. I lost a full year. It hurt me a lot. So this book was like warning people that the corruption you do will fire back. Yes, because the story is of Abu, who held a government position but was very corrupt. Though he was fine for his people because he used to support them. When a family member needs something, he gets it for them, which is just nepotism. Yeah, but then he had to pay back for the corruption he did, and unfortunately with his own life. But more than that, his son came to suffer because when his son grew up to look for scholarship, he was not having anybody there. Just like me, I did not have anybody. My dad is not working with the government. He's just a driver out there. And we came from a poor background. We don't have anybody up there who will do it for us. So I felt, literature is a means of mass communication. You pass, message to people. So, this boy had to suffer so much that he did not have anything to do in this country. He could not get scholarship with his good marks, and then he had to take his bag and go for back way. That was how the story went. So it's a warning to all the people. When you do it to other people, your sons and daughters or relatives will come one day. People are going to do it to them.
I mean, they say what goes around comes around. Sorry. I don't even know how to call that act of stopping you or cutting down your salary. Why would anyone do that? I mean, we all taking chances to grab UTG or higher institutional students to come to our workplaces. So if you have somebody who wants to pursue that, why cut their salaries or even stop them from going? That definitely is the worst that I've had so far this week. Yes, not this month, but this week. Yes, it's bad. It's bad. Tell us, among all your books that you've written, because I know that Mr. Corruption is not the only book you've written. This book is not the only one you've written. Among all of them that you've written, which one do you think have so much impact, so much positive impact in our society?
I think the readers would be the best to answer that question. But personally, I feel Mr. Corruption has the most to do with the society. Yeah, even though my first publication, Spilled Beans, was almost the same. When you look at the statement, Spilled Beans, it's like revealing something. Like I took the paper, so many things that people are afraid to speak about. I came out, in my poems and spoke about them. So I revealed a lot of ills. So that is something. But then this one, I think it is central to this condition of the Gambia at the moment. There is nobody who can escape this corruption. So that's why the book has two names. You have Mr. Corruption and Mr. Corruption. So Mr. Corruption is the son, and Mr. Corruption is the man himself. He is Mr. Corruption. So he was corrupt, and his son is his, Mr. Corruption is the one who suffers. And the story basically is about him. That's why you can see is the one that is bolded. So to send a message to the people, and honestly, all the people who read the book and gave me feedback, they told me I can really relate the story. Yeah, because it is typically Gambian. It's typically Gambian, and especially what we are facing right now. Yeah, it's my favorite right now. But there is one that I really love more, which is not yet out. It's a trilogy. I've been suffering to get publishers. It's a trilogy. I wrote both the first and the second. The third one is incomplete. But that one was also because I could not get these ones published, so I really, lost some appetite in the process. But then I would have to succumb to self-publishing like I've always done. Yeah, but I believe when that one comes, it would be my favorite. But for now, this is it.
Amazing. So you said you do self-publication. That means all this is self-publishing books.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Juara is such a brilliant somebody, and he's doing so much well to give us something good. I mean, this is not just for him. He's writing something that can educate you and I, and I would really advise we take it with both hands. We appreciate him for what he's doing. So this word that a lot of them writers argue about, even me, I always argue about it. It's called intersexuality. Yes, people say whatever you write, somebody have written it. I don't concur with that. What do you?
I will not reject it 100%, but then I will not also agree with it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not agreeing because you agreed, or I'm not disagreeing because you disagree. Yes, but the fact is, whatever you have written, especially when it is, something that have to do with the society, somebody might have felt that same thing and have written it before. But then the way you felt it and the way you put it to paper would be different from another person. Yeah. So it cannot be 100% the same. But then some themes may be recurring. They may be coming back, Yeah, but then to say in the textuality, in this literal sense, no, I will disagree with that.
Sure.
Yeah, I don't think there would be anybody who will read a book that is exactly like mine. And definitely I cannot agree with that.
I mean, yeah. I was one time in a class, so the teacher was like, "There's nothing you can read, and somebody has written that before." I was like, no. We just experienced coronavirus right now. So what if coronavirus just came today and then I decided to write about coronavirus? Does that mean somebody also wrote coronavirus in the past? Because this is our first time experiencing it. He gave his incredible points like, well, maybe for example, if you write about divorce, and if you write a story on divorce, maybe a word divorce is also written on another person's book. I told him, yeah, that is right too. It's actually a debatable word, but then we will, let's see.
Yeah.
Yes. Will you advise writers to involve themselves in politics or even write about political stuffs?
You cannot escape politics. I'm sorry, I will have to reveal this here. My dad has always told me to stay away from politics. Yeah, and I really heed his advice. But politicians are deciding your life every day. They are making decisions for you every day. So it would be hard to stay away from things that are affecting you, especially things that are affecting you directly. Now, let's say, for example, if I read about the rising murder cases, if I read about corruption, if I read about let's say the price hikes, they may seem like social problems, but then they are also political in some sense. So of course you cannot totally avoid it, but the problem with politics, especially in Africa, is you may never make it out of it. Yeah, when you enter it, it's hard to get yourself out of it. Like you would be tagged, and the moment that tag is placed on you, it's finished. You can never tell people I'm not a politician. And a lot of people do not really understand this stuff. So of course, write about things to writers, write about things that are affecting you. If it is political, let it be. Yes, that is why when you look at William Wordsworth, he said in his definition of poetry, he said it is a powerful outflow, like a spontaneous outflow of powerful emotions. It is something that affects you and it's coming out of you. And emotions are things that sometimes you cannot control. So what affects you is what goes in as your emotion. So when you bring it out, that is what he calls poetry. Now, what if a politician's decision affects my life and I feel it? Then when I write about it, whether I want to be a politician or not, I have spoken about poetry, politics. So the bottom line would be: do not explicitly go into politics as they do. Yes, I don't think that's a good idea, especially for a young writer. Yeah, do not be political, because the moment you do that, you might be influenced with your writing. You will not be honest enough, like Chinua Achebe said. A writer is supposed to be honest. When you are writing, even when you are writing about your own self or your own people, you should be honest. That's why in his book he spoke about the death of Ikemefuna. Ikemefuna was killed, which actually does not appeal to the senses to a great extent, but that was how Africans were living. So he was honest enough to reveal that. So just be honest with yourself. Stay away from politics, especially on the national level, but then write about things that affect you. The moment you don't do that, you are a dishonest point. And in my first publication, Spilled Beans, I wrote a poem about that dishonest points. You say the truth and avoid it and write about something else. You are dishonest to your talent that God has given you. You must use your pen to reveal the truth.
The truth. Only the truth.
Yes.
Do you read Gambian books? Because I know a quite number of people, like you can walk to a school and ask a student or a whole classroom, give me the names of just 5 Gambian authors. I doubt they will be able to answer your question.
Yeah, it's definitely disheartening.
Yes, they don't know Gambian books at all.
Gambians don't.
Yes, but you are a writer. I want to ask if you read Gambian books at all.
Yes, so I do, and especially recently, I've loved Gambian books so much. Of course, I've read a lot of Gambian books. Yes, I read Gambian books.
Why do you think Gambians don't read? Like the majority of them, I wouldn't say majority because I haven't did any fact finding about it, but I know a quite number of people don't actually show interest in Gambian books. Why do you think that happens?
Gambians generally, not even only Gambian books, Gambians generally don't like reading. Yeah, you look very strange when you seem like somebody who reads a lot. They will just be wowed. Like just recently, we did introduction to Gambian literature at the university, and then when you speak about some of the books you have read, people will be like, "Wow, you spend all your life reading." I was like, "No, bro, I don't spend all my life reading. It's just about creating time for it." So of course, Gambians generally have this bad attitude towards reading. Gambians don't like reading. So it's not only Gambian books they don't read; they don't just read. And considering the number of publications Gambians have made, maybe that is another influencing factor. Comparing it to other countries, the Gambia has produced less than 1%, I can say. So our publication number is not much. So that is another thing that is influencing the reason why Gambians are not reading Gambian books. I think another reason would be the unavailability of Gambian books in the curriculum. Like when you ask literature students the books they are doing, if there is a Gambian book, it will be only one. But I don't even think there is a Gambian book there. I did literature, and then I've taught literature, but I've never done a Gambian book in the literature curriculum, unless you bring it in as a supporting, like an additional work, an extra thing for the kids. But the co-curricular ones are never Gambian. For instance, I can say Michael Hamadi Seka's The Shock. It was brought in when I was in grade 7, but then we were not doing literature, we were doing English. So sometimes our teacher brings it and we read it in class. That's how it's always been. But then having a Gambian book as a co-curricular stuff, is always lacking. So I think that is another factor that is affecting people's attitude towards reading Gambian books, because people don't read for pleasure.
Sure.
They only read when it is important for them to read it, because they need to pass their exams. So if Gambian books are not in that position, where it is compulsory for them, they will not read it. Yeah, so I think these are some of the reasons why Gambians really don't read Gambian books.
And I think that part is very, very important, and that have to be directed to the Ministry of Education or anybody responsible for that, because it's easier for us to adapt to things that are, to understand things that are happening in our society. If you write something and you are a Gambian, you definitely write things about Gambians.
Sure.
If I read that, I will easily understand, and something that is happening outside, like outside as their book, you definitely not relate to it, because those are things that you are not seeing and they are not happening to you.
Sure.
So I think it's very, very important if we include Gambian books in our curriculums. Moving forward, I saw your post on Baba Silla.
Yes. Oh, I love him so much.
Yes. How did you came about that?
Baba Silla's poem, trilogy, When the Monkey Talks, Dabaliji, and Dreams of the Islands, came up in one of my discussions in class with my kids. Although it's something that I'm supposed to do at the university. Yeah, but it came up in class because I was talking about Edward Francis Small in class. Then one day I spoke about Baba Silla, and one of my kids told me, hey, my dad has that book, When the Monkey Talks, because When the Monkey Talks, Baba Silla presents a man, Edu Faramundao, who is the person of Edward Francis Small. You understand? So he told me I have that book. Then I told him, can you bring it for me? He told me, yeah. He brought it, so I read the book, and it was amazing. And where the book ended, it was like, no, I cannot stop here. I have to go for the second one. So thanks to the Almighty, this boy's father has all these copies. So he brought Dabaliji 2 for me. I read it in a couple of days. Father finished, and then I asked him to bring Dreams of the Islands 2. I read it, and the more I read it, the more I got attached to Baba Silla. Yeah, like the way he narrated what happened in the Gambia within a span of about 200 years. The first one was when Gambia was at the peak of colonialism. The colonial masters were forcing our people to pay taxes that you can't even understand, and they were forced to grow groundnut. People were forced into taking loans. So you realize this is actually what happened in the Gambia, but I never knew these things.
Never knew.
Yeah. So Baba Silla, presented a masterclass. This is not a child's play, honestly speaking. I commend him for this work. It is so tremendous. It's so amazing. And the stories are so beautiful. And you can see the depiction of culture in the books. You learn a lot about your culture. This is the way things are done in African settings. The moment you read the book, you have no choice but to love the person who wrote them.
Amazing.
Yeah, this was how I got, attached to Baba Silla. So much that I cannot keep it to myself.
Wow.
Yes. Like anybody who knows me knows that I love Baba Silla. Yeah, oh yes.
My next question is, who inspired you among the Gambian writers? But speaking, like the way you speak of Baba Silla, I don't know if I already know the answer to that question. Who inspired? Because we have so many Gambian authors and they are doing amazing. It surprises me why some people still don't know a quite number of them. We have amazing, so many of them. Who inspired you?
To write a book specifically, it came from my readers. Yeah, I was writing, poems, sharing it all over, and a lot of people. If I want to mention names here, I will not do justice to some. Yeah, but a lot of people tell me, why not you compile this and make it a book? Why not you compile this and make it a book? Why not you do this? It kept coming up all the time. So I told myself, well, I think it is time to do this. Let me compile. I would not also forget Modu Lamin H. Al-Musaf. So he showed me the way. Actually, when I wanted to write this, compile them, he showed me how to do it and how to publish it on Amazon too. He was the one who showed me, because it is difficult to get published in the Gambia. And he told me, Keba, there's a bigger world outside the Gambia. You don't have to limit yourself to the Gambia. So go out there, present yourself to the global market. So he showed me. I think the inspiration came from the people, my readers, but then the guidance came from ML. He showed me how to write the book, and then that was how I published my first book.
Amazing. Amazing. That means you have to read. You really have to read, because he said his inspiration comes from you. Buy his books. Mr. Corruption is here. It's very, very cheap, and he has other books with him also. Moving forward, do you think writing associations in the Gambia impact Gambian writers?
Yeah, that's very right. Even though it might not be as monumental as what we may expect, but they have definitely. There are a lot of people who started writing after connecting with other writers, and this could have never been if not for the presence of these writing associations. For example, you have the Writers Association and the Young Writers Association. A lot of people started thinking of writing their own books when they started mingling with writers. When you see somebody doing it, you tell yourself, yeah, I can also do this. Yeah. I think this is one thing also in me. Like when I see people doing something, I tell myself I can do this. Yeah, oh no, it's not difficult. Come on, I can also do this. Then I also give a shot. Yeah, I've always been like that. So, and I think people are naturally like that. When you see somebody do something, you also want to do it.
Sure.
Yeah. So the writing associations, of course, inspired a lot of people to write. And I can tell you that for free. There are a lot of people out there, if you ask them, why did you write your first book? They will tell you it's because of this particular person. And if you ask them, how did you meet that person? They will tell you it's through these associations.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Kudos to the Writers Association of the Gambia, and then the Young Writers Association of the Gambia, and other writing associations as well.
Sure.
I usually hear people call you my mentor. Are you a mentor? Do you think you are really impacting the lives of individuals out there?
Trying to be humble as much as possible.
No, you have to
Yeah,
say it, because I had a quite number of people calling you mentors. Some people will be like, Miss Akiba, you are is actually the one who made me write these poems. I had that frequently.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people, a lot. There's some actually even older than me. Yeah, I must commend them for their humility. People always come to me and tell me, I want to be a poet, but I don't know how to do it, how to start it. Like, how are you able to come up with these poems? People come up, and ask me all the time. And then I always do my best to give them what I think they need to know in order to do it. Yeah. Some of them, especially the ones in high school, mostly, I give them some assignments. Actually, I tell them to read certain materials. Yeah, read certain poems by certain people. Then I, push them forward little by little until they are able to grasp what literature or what poetry really is. And then, start a poem for them and ask them to add few lines. That's how I guide some of them until they are able to write, their own poems. And sometimes I'll ask them, now, this is a topic for you. Write, send it to me, and then I will edit it. And when I edit, I write down an explanation of why I changed this, why I feel this is okay. And then this is how a lot of them started coming. But I can tell you there are some who already have the talent. They just needed somebody to just spark that up. Yes. And the moment you show them the way, book, they are there. I can give you 2 classical examples, or 3 or 4. I don't know how many can I give. It's a lot. For example, one like Muhammad Lamin Mane. This boy was already a talented poet. He already only needed somebody to show him the way. The moment I gave him few explanations, he was out there. You have people like Sanusi also. Big up to you. You have Ibrahim Job. And then you have a colleague of mine also. When I went to Kia, that's why they said behind every dark cloud is a silver lining. I impacted a lot of people out there, and actually it would never have been if not because of their readiness also. Yeah. One of them was my colleague, Mr. Dabo. He is also very talented, but he never took up writing seriously. But when I started interacting with him, I inspired him, and then he started writing. The first poem he wrote, I was really amazed. I was like, yo, this is better than my first poem. He did well, you know, and now, alhamdulillah, he's a very good poet, and he's also writing stories. You know, I started the story online on Facebook. I think I've been sharing it on WhatsApp also sometimes, although not very frequently, but I was very consistent on Facebook. He saw that, and then, you know, he started writing a story. So amazing, much more interesting than my own. So you see, and then you have this boy also who was also a head boy. I inspired him into poetry, showed him the way, and I can happily say he's a published poet now. Yeah, he compiled his poems and, you know, published a book. You know, so I think, yeah, there's a couple of people out there who I mentored. Yeah, I believe I can do better than what I have done, but because of time and everything, you know, it's not easy.
I think you are doing amazing. You are a very fascinated somebody, because a lot of time when you reach out to people, they are always like, no, they don't want to help you. But even if they help you in a wrong way, if you want to complain, they will give this one particular example that I always had of Harry Potter failed. Why are you complaining? I'm like, just because Harry Potter failed, that does not mean somebody also has to fail in the writing arena. You know,
So
you're doing incredible well, and we are proud of you.